Oh, there we go. We're live.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yay, we're live.
Yeah, it's like I'm in the process of like tearing apart
everyone.
Oh, hello.
We're doing the intro.
Okay. He told us to keep talking.
He did. He lied. Okay.
I'm Peter.
I'm Alison.
I'm Daphne.
And we're all making comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Getting work done.
Yeah, because there's always work to do.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, it's like I'm in the process of. Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. What are you saying, Pete?
So I wanted to mention, like I saw where you have it. You've been working in comics since 1992. That's like a year later than myself. So it's 30 years. I don't know if you know the exact date that you started.
Oh, the exact, no, not the exact date. That's for sure. It's like I was lucky I was able to narrow it down to 1992, and that just required, and I needed to dig through all the comics that I've done, trying to find where the dates stop, where the years stop. But yeah, I mean, we've been crossing paths at conventions, since all that time. So it's kind of funny that it takes now for us to finally be on a stream together.
Oh God, 1992. Oh
yeah.
I'm the baby here. I was in high school. So.
Right. I mean, it was, it's a long process.
I was in Catholic school.
Oh, yeah, I did the Catholic grade school thing. So,
Junior high and high school.
Oh, no. It's like, so I did the Catholic school, grade school, and then I went to the High School of Art and Design, which is that pretty much in my junior year was when my whole comic journey started.
Oh.
Yeah. And then and then it took until 1992 because I'm not doing the math.
I was definitely doing comics in high school, just, in my notebook.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, actually, for me, it's like it was kind of like discovering comics in high school. I was kind of like one of these late bloomers. Because it's like I really didn't. Well, I mean, I was always familiar with comics, but more European comics, because I was born in Spain and raised in Brazil, so it's like they have different a different comic book culture there, and it was just like something that people just read. It wasn't anything like special, for lack of a better phrase, and like it's only like in like my late grade school, early high school was when I really discovered American comics. And it started with finding Rocket Raccoon in a supermarket. And the Mike Mignola one, the one that Mike Mignola was doing. Yeah, he did the original
the original mini.
The miniseries, and then soon after that, I found ElfQuest at a Barnes and Noble bookstore, and I was like just completely fixated on these two books because like I had no idea that comics could be like that. And then in my sophomore year at Art and Design, I found out that first day I was literally 2 blocks away from the original Forbidden Planet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So before they moved all the way downtown, they were originally around like 56th Street or something. I don't quite remember. But they were there. So it was like that opened up a whole new world of comics for me. And then it's like, and that was like during the black and white, boom or glut, depending on how you looked at it, I guess. and it's like that just opened up a whole new world for me. But at that point, I wasn't doing comics. Like I wasn't really familiar with the art form, like as a thing to do. And then it's like in my sophomore year was when I met JD Calderon, who needed an artist who could do furries. Although at the time I didn't know they were called that, for a book he had called Tall Tales. So that was like my first introduction, kind of like off the deep end, into doing comics, was doing that book. And all these years later, I'm still doing that book. I mean, yeah, it's like, you know how it is. It's like you were seeing me at conventions the entire time with that book.
Oh, that is completely awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I there's very few people I remember like meeting at conventions. But I definitely remember running into you, picking up a copy, and talking to you for a little bit.
Yeah.
Way back when.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You know, and then it's like we would just keep crossing paths. I think like one San Diego. I think it was a San Diego. It was either San Diego or a Boston Comic Con.
I was in San Diego.
Probably San Diego.
I was in Boston.
Right.
I probably saw you at Boston Comic Con.
Yeah.
Because I live right near Boston.
Right. Yeah. So it's like you know what, it's like you know, and it's like I think it was like you and Mark Torres, and you know, we were just all like having dinner together or something. Like I don't
Right.
I just like I have snippets of memory. You know, that's what it is. Don't ask
me.
Yeah,
there was a lot of that.
You know, it's like yeah, because like you do enough conventions and they all like meld into each other.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's like
so how many how many
okay.
issues?
Oh, well, the original series, Thieves Quest, that's the original story arc that we did. That's 20 issues. And we've been recently re-releasing all those issues as trade paperbacks. So I'm just finishing up the campaign for the volume 4 trade paperback, which should be going live on Kickstarter in a couple of months. So that's what we've been doing recently, just like recollecting all of the work that we've done. Now, mind you, that's just the one story arc. Because there's like a couple of more books that we did after the Thieves Quest, which we did like a one shot. We did like another side story that we're going to release in its own trade. And I'm currently in the middle of the second story arc called Tears of the Mother. So I think that just Tall Tales alone is probably over about 1,000 pages worth of stuff. Which I guess it's like, you know, if you're comparing it to people actually in the industry, that doesn't sound like a lot. But when I'm doing everything myself, that's an accomplishment for me.
Yeah.
Anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong.
Yeah. So we've been re-releasing all of the Tall Tales work in their own trades. Because it's like, especially in these last 2 years, it's like we realized that we've been seeing a brand new audience. I guess it's like, you know, with lockdown, a lot has happened, you know, the last 2 years, and we've like seemingly inadvertently cultivated a whole new audience, and it's like, oh, this is probably the best time to re-release everything. So it was so it's pretty interesting to think that it feels like I'm coming full circle with all this work that I started doing back in 92. Although, like I said, the exact date I don't have. Like I said, I'm lucky I know 92.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's still awesome.
Yeah.
I figured out, like, I started in September, I think.
Oh,
You know.
I mean, that's really specific. Why is the September stand out?
I don't remember. But, I mean, I was working a day job. You know, like my origin story was essentially Jimmy asked me if I wanted to make a couple of bucks and help. You know, Mark Texiera was working on Ghost Rider, and so up to the mall offices and 10 minutes, you know, filling in blacks on Ghost Rider pages, Mark's penciling and inking at the same time while drinking coffee and eating sugar donuts. Jimmy's inking figure background. Ken Branch was there inking backgrounds, and like, you know, it was madness. And I was just like, we were all in the bullpen, in the Marvel bullpen. Nobody else was there. This is before any security or anything. We were just like, you know, hanging out there all on our own. And yeah, it was like, yeah, I do comics for a living, because, you know, it's like previous to that, I was like, art is too precious to make a living off. But yeah, so I, you know, it's like I thought about it. I don't know. I came up with September because I think of I don't know. I just figured it out somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll
really
take the date.
We're just gonna go with it.
Yeah. Just go with it. I mean, yeah, it's that kind of a thing. You know, it's like I used to have a good record of what I worked on, you know, but once I moved out of New York, I'm out in Kentucky now. I got rid of everything, and you know, that's essentially when computers start coming into fact. You know, it's I time record like what books I worked on, but I gave up. Like even like Comic Book Database has my information wrong, but whatever.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, I think it's really interesting. Like people who actually have the foresight to archive their stuff, because it's like, you know, it's kind of like when like sometimes when they talk to Disney, like the Disney archives, and they say it's like, oh, we have his very first drawing on a napkin that he did in 1920s. So, and it's like, how did they even know back then to save that? Like I mean, there's stuff that I draw that sometimes I don't even remember. Like I have flashes of memory of certain pieces of art that I did that I know I no longer have, but I couldn't tell you where it is. You know, and it's like, you know, if anybody needed to archive anything for me, that they'd have a hard time, because even I would be like, oh yeah, I don't know. Did I work on that? I don't remember if I worked on that. Like, it's like I did the other day. I re-edited a video of an interview that I did with Trina Robbins, and it was literally like that. Like I had like her, like a list of things that she did that she didn't remember that she did. Like it's like she's done so, like even she said that you know, that she's done so much stuff that she doesn't remember everything. So it's like, so even her as a historian has a hard time keeping a record of what she herself has done. So I guess if she has a hard time, maybe we should kind of like not be worried too much about what we're kind of doing, you know. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting,
I mean, like
review.
you know, I would like to have a record of what I worked on, but really, like 30 years in the business, I feel like I'm just getting to the point where I'm more interested in what I'm going to be doing going forward than what I've done previously.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, though, it's like, but also it's like you do mostly work for like other people, right? Like I don't recall if you have like your own things that you work like if you have your own stuff, personal stuff. Do you remember that better than the stuff that you worked on for Marvel? Oh,
Peter, did you freeze?
uh-oh.
Lage, Peter, and Alice.
Oh, hey, Nita.
Peter?
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
I don't know. He's moving, but he's
Right.
not saying anything.
Uh-huh.
Peter?
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Oh no, we lost him. just it's like, but really, it's like that's what I because I know that I've done like a lot of like commissions and outside, like other people work for other people, and I tend to like not remember those as much. But my own stuff, like I said, I have every single page pretty much. I have all those, so that, oh, there he goes. Okay. So he just,
and he's kind of, he's doing his thing.
He's doing it. Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of wondering, whether that has also a lot to do with it. Like when we're working on our own stuff, do we remember that better? Just naturally?
I think a little bit. I mean, there's a few things I've done that I'm annoyed I can't talk about because there's NDAs involved.
But, there we go. Yeah.
That I definitely remember, but they'll never see the light of day. Right. So we get Peter twice.
Right. Oh, it's.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
There we are.
I think we maybe. We all here?
I'm okay.
I am.
Okay, right. Good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
So the question that I have for you.
To answer your previous question, I have dabbled with things. I attempted some webcomics, but retro, which I've been working on and off since 2009, will finally, the first issue will finally be released this year.
Oh.
So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I've mostly been working for other people. I've mostly been an inker. But it took me a while to wrap my head around, just do your own comic, I didn't think I was ready, or all the reasons, whatever. It's like for you to come out of the gate and just sort of work on and be doing everything is bold.
Yeah,
like except for the writing, like.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of like, it's like, it was kind of like a trial by fire back then. Although I have to, admit though, that it's like the issue that got printed in 1992 is not the same issue that I had been trying to get done since my sophomore year, when technically I started working on it. So like the book ended up going through a lot of different iterations as I kind of learned how to do comics properly and kind of like what everyone was kind of expecting, and because I know that JD, he was throwing a whole bunch of different books at me, trying to get me to like understand like the medium and how how you do storytelling in comics. And
Right.
What is it? It's like I remember a lot about a lot of Mike Grell, a lot of Arthur Adams. As Guardian Wars is huge in my head. Let's see, the Longbow Hunters was another one. There was a, I think it was Barry Windsor Smith. Batman the Cult was another one.
Batman Cult was Bernie Wrightson.
Oh, Bernie Wrightson. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. I knew there was a B in there somewhere. Yeah. I think that's what confuses me. So he was like showing me all these books, and I was just like, okay, I think, let me try to figure this out. And it's like, in the end, sometimes it's not about waiting until you're ready. It's about like, okay, the book is finally done. Let's finally print it. But so the thing is, with your story, so with your story though, so it's like you said that you kept feeling like you weren't ready, and you finally are putting it out, or just.
It's like since the very beginning of my career, I was assisting other inkers, but I was always looking for work. So I would look for work at conventions, and a lot of people I would get work from were individuals doing their own books. Mm-hmm. So it was always like a magnet. Like it was always a pull that, one day I'm gonna do something on my own. But I also, at the same time, it's like I was trying to up my skill as an inker, and eventually did. And the more it's like my brain is my worst enemy. It's like
that's for sure. All our brains are.
Don't think about it. So it's like, as I up my skill as an inker, it's like, well, it's like my writing and penciling sucks in comparison to my inking. So, and I never had, it's like I'm too busy working and trying to make a living to, work on my other skills and blah, 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 and whatever, But at one point I was like, I just got to do it. I just got to, I got an artist for the first issue of Retro, but I'm going to be doing everything from issue 2 on.
Oh, okay.
So that gave me a little boost to get started.
Are you doing the inking on it to kind of keep a consistency between the issues?
Yeah. So with the first issue, I wrote it, I inked it, and I'm going to be coloring it. And it's going to look very much like an 80s comic, like very old school coloring. Nothing too fancy.
I'm doing all the flats.
There you go.
Do you have the? Are you going to put in the dot patterns too? Like, are you going to go all the way with that, or are you just going to it's just flat, like kind of like just flat coloring?
Well, I'm going to do it flat coloring, and once the issue is done, then I'll take a really hard look at it and see if I'm going to do anything fancier. If it stands up, because I put a lot of work into the inking of it. So if it stands up, then it's good enough. And as like just thinking about the sort of arc of my working on my skills from issue to issue, the coloring will get better and improve over time.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I keep telling people, because it's like I've seen way too many people where they've done like 5 versions of their issue 1 when they could have been on issue 5.
Right.
And I always keep telling people, it's like, look, your first issue is always going to be your weakest one by the time you get to issue 5. So no matter how many, so it's like, just get the story out, just get the book out, because it's never going to be perfect, and you're going to naturally improve anyway.
Yep.
So I mean, it's like, yeah, so it's
It
so
should,
yeah,
it
so
should be people's goal.
right, exactly. That should be the point. That I should see a difference. Pretty much. Especially in independent circles, it's like I should see it, because if you're Arthur Adams, I'm not going to expect a difference between issue 1 and issue 5, or But yeah, but if you're in, for independent people, it's like, no, you're supposed to see a difference between issue 1 and issue 5.
Okay.
I mean, with my new series that I have on Kickstarter now, that I have I think I have 30 something hours left on it, EGORAVEN. That book, I did the original 5 issues of it. I think the issue 5 I actually did 2017. That was the last time I worked on it. And then recently I just finished the pencils for issue 6 and 7. And it's night and day. I mean, not completely night and day, but but you can see that there is a difference between what I was doing in 2017 and what I'm doing now. And the thing is that, that's just what it is. It's like some people would have oh, I have to redo all those issues or something. And I'm going, no, that's the way I was drawing back then. With the series, when I decided to do it in color, because I originally did it in black and white and put it on my website, all I did was I went in and I redid the lettering. I tweaked the artwork in places where I thought was a little too rough, and I thought that, okay, I can improve on this. I can fix it, but I wanted to do everything but redraw it. And
Right.
yeah, and it's I just had to I figured it's okay, you know what? I'm re-releasing these books in color on Kickstarter, but I have to honor the artist that I was back then when I did the books. So, I just pretty much says, okay, I'm not going to redraw them. I'm going to save all that effort for the new issues that I'm doing, because it's a 15 issue limited series, and I'm almost close to halfway through it. And yeah, so it's that's just going to be a natural progression where the artwork is going to change slightly with each issue. And I know that, the way my issue 6 and issue 7 look now, I know that by the time I get to issue 15, it might look even more different. But more improved, I would like to say, not necessarily different, too different. I'm not going to start off, having a style that looks like Karl Barks and end up looking like Arthur Adams at issue 15. It's not going to be that drastic.
We're not going for Barks now?
No, we're not.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's just something that people have to if they're serious about doing a comic and putting out their own work, that's something they have to accept. That's yeah, your first issue, is going to be what it is. But, the idea is that by the time you're on your 5th issue, the progression is going to be noticeable.
Yeah. That's definitely not what I want.
Here's a little book I got.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Classic.
the
Yeah.
thing.
Definitely.
It's
yeah. It's and I really like and I really like these Dark Horse editions because they're in black and white. So it's I really get to see the pen work that that she I guess utilizes in it. That I don't know, it's there as much as I like it in color, there's something about seeing it in black and white that's you really notice the artwork better. Especially since
I remember picking up the first issue, it's she does beautiful work,
Yeah.
The art is gorgeous. What originally attracted me, because it's the more people I talk to about ElfQuest, it's like at the time it was like only women were reading it, so
Right,
it like
yeah.
made me feel a little weird. But screw it, it's a good book.
Right, yeah, that's all that's really what should matter, you know. It's like it's a good book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to read ElfQuest.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah, I think it would be very
Good stuff.
rare to find anybody who grew up during like the 80s who didn't have ElfQuest, who like ElfQuest wasn't, you know, part of their formative years.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Yeah. You know, it's like, because now it's like, I think like now it's like all about like different manga and whatnot. It's like there's more of a Japanese influence on
Manga-
everybody.
Yeah, manga. Well, yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I am
Mhm.
heavily manga influenced, so it's weird. I don't even read that much
There
manga
seems
anymore.
to be a new trend. It's like manga's a trend, but also like 90s comics, like Image specifically,
Right.
like style is popping up a lot.
Right, yeah, because
and
those are people's
that's
formative
like
years.
I'm not sure, like I'm still, yeah, absolutely. I'm still untested as an artist, but I think I'm gonna lean in that direction, like because those guys were making $1,000 a page, and they put everything into every page and every panel. You know, it's not every book, but like
Right, yeah.
But I want to say like we can share out your well, you can.
If you want to share your
out
screen, because I'll knock mine out to show what you're doing. I mean, I'm here all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing here.
Right. So what are we doing?
Do you want to share your screen, show what you're doing?
Well, actually, I don't have a camera. You see, because that's what I was like. I guess like trying to say at the very beginning, because I kept getting distracted. I actually like in the middle of setting up my office again because I keep having flooding issues in it. So I don't have it set up so that you can actually see my drawing table from my camera. But I can do it old school, and I can kind of like hold up my pages like that. Yes. So this is, so I'm currently inking a 16-page short story that I am doing as a bonus story for my campaign for EGORAVEN. And also, if you also support the Oswald Chronicles at the same time, you'll get the finished story as a PDF, just for supporting both of our campaigns. So yeah, so this is what I'm currently working on now, and like a heathen, because I keep getting told this, I ink with a rapidiograph. So I mean, it's like, yeah, because it's like I've had people from the very beginning. Now, from the very beginning, say you're not supposed to be inking with that, but it's like, well, I am, so and you can't stop me. You know? So,
well,
that's what I'm using at the moment, but I'm doing technical stuff, but I also like, because you get very specific line, but you get a tight line out of it. So like,
right.
Well, what I was suggesting is to share out your Kickstarter.
Oh yeah,
your
I can
campaign.
do that. Yeah, let me do that.
Definitely share your Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You know, we like to see people's stuff.
Yeah. Okay,
and yeah, it looks like your partner in crime is saying that you got some sexy lines there, Heathen.
Oh. Thank you, Nita.
You should probably get her on too at some point.
So yeah, so this is the campaign.
Yeah,
This is my campaign for EGORAVEN, Heir the First Unicorn, issues 1 through 4. This is a series that it's where Tall Tales is. I have shared duties with Jason Calderon, with him writing and me doing the artwork. With this series, it's the first time I've gone completely solo. So everything about this book is me. It's like I wrote it, I drew it, I letter it, I color it, except for the flatting right now. So flatting right now is the only thing I don't do. So as you can see, it has 47 hours left, and I am halfway to reaching my final stretch goal, which unlocks a new story, that 8-page story that I will add to the 4th issue if we reach that 6K. So the overall story, if this is the first time everyone is even seeing this, EGORAVEN, Heir the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm after she's betrayed by her elf prince husband-to-be. Dragons overtake her kingdom because she doesn't have enough problems, and how she trains to become a knight, hoping she can win a king's favor and save her people. And on the screen is the crossover that I'm inking right now. So like I said, if you click on the link in the campaign, and you support the Oswald Chronicles, you get, and my campaign, you'll get the finished 16-page story when I'm done with it. And also, I also have another crossover with Nightwolf. Again, the link is in the campaign, where if you support both our campaigns, you get this print also as an exclusive to supporting our campaigns. So this collects. This is up to issue 4. The campaign itself has issues 1 through 4 available, plus the prequel. And this is the issue where pretty much the story really gets rolling. EGORAVEN is pretty much shanghaied by a baroness trying to avoid an arranged marriage, and she becomes her champion on the tournament circuit as a result. And now it's her training to take advantage of this position that she was pretty much forced into, and training to be able to compete so that maybe she can become a knight and everything that goes with it. So these are some of the pages, the first 6 pages in the issue 4. And I also have the prequel, which takes place like 20 years before issue 1. And this one's more of an experimental book that I did, where it's actually prose and illustrations as opposed to just being all comics. I keep getting told that my writing style, that for someone who does as much comics as I do, that I have a very prosy writing style. So this is where I kind of show it off as best as I can. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a nice experiment to do. I might and I'm really thinking of doing more of these. And for the complete, so if you're kind of like a completist and you really want the entire story, I highly suggest getting the catch-up level, which has the prequel and the first 4 issues, because especially in issues 6 and 7, which, like I said, I finished penciling, the prequel is going to feature is going to be referenced heavily in those 2 issues. So everything is all related to each other. And if you want to find out before even supporting the campaign, you can download a free 16-page sampler of the comic. So technically, I'm running a Kickstarter that gives you something for free just for showing up. Awesome. Yeah, so you can check that. So everybody coming to the campaign can try it out and see, whether it's a book that they really would be interested in following. And I have levels for everybody. If you like just digital files, if you collect the physical issues as well, I have those. Every level comes with a PDF version of the book, so you'll always have the physical copy and the digital copy as well. And I also have, for all the collectors out there, I have variant covers for this series. So you can get your standard virgin cover, which it doesn't have any trade dress on it. I love my metallic silver that showcases the line art, my black and white line art, because again, it's like it's like we spend all this time inking. I want people to see it. So that's on silver foil, and I have the hollow foil as well, which is also really nice, very shiny. And I also have sketch covers as well. And I have sets where people can pick up. You can collect all of the issues from issues 1 through 4, plus all the variants in one shot. And here's the sketch covers as well. And I also have a special variant cover that was made exclusive for this particular campaign. So you get issue 4 with this special cover on it. You can get a regular cover, a virgin cover, and the hollow foil cover. And I'm only making as many as gets pledged to on the campaign. I'm not making any extras after the campaign is over. So if if you like collecting any of these individual covers, even the individual issues, this is the last campaign for this to do that, because my next EGORAVEN campaign after this is volume 1 that collects issues 1 through 4, and I'm cleaning the slate. So none of these individual issues will be available after this campaign. Wow. So it's because I figure on a 15 issue limited series, if I had everything available for 15 issues, that's a lot of comics.
That's a shitload of
yeah, but, so I figure every 4 issues we can clean the slate. It'll just be easier for everybody.
Well, when you get all 15 done, you definitely have to do the Kickstarter for the whole shebang.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there has to be I have to do something special for all 15 issues. So it's like because I would love to do a hardcover collecting everything, the entire story. So I would have to definitely do something special for that. And also I have the add-ons, I have the prequel, I have the trading cards, some variants. I had on a previous campaign.
Oh, we have porn.
Yeah, I have the nude cover, and I have the My Little Pony variant, which was actually done by Mary Bellamy, who did do My Little Pony for IDW. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was these I think are completely sold out. Last I checked,
if I really want to look at tits, I can just look at here.
So these particular issues are sold out though, because they were that limited. And then I have the metal bookmarks and a metal trading card that you can add on. And I also have sample comics of Tall Tales and Oswald Chronicles, so people could try them out as well.
Pardon my interruption. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
I just need to run to the bathroom.
Okay. Oh, there you go. No, of course, absolutely. And like we were saying before, we have the stretch goals. So right now we have the 3 trading cards that are unlocked. We finally unlocked the sticker. And now we are about a little over $500 away from unlocking this 8-page story. What it is that there's a bunch of little stories that I've been working on that didn't fit in with the main storyline because it was kind of like bog it down or whatnot, but they were kind of like interesting on their own. So what I started doing is collecting and working on all these little short stories that add that's like they're not necessarily part of the main story. They don't need to be, but I think that they add more atmosphere and characterization to it. So this is going to be the first of those short stories that I'll be releasing if we hit goal to release it. And then it's like, hopefully, like with all the other issues that come out, we can do the same thing for release more and more stories this way. The idea is to eventually collect all these stories into their own trade paperback.
Right,
And
right.
I figured that this would be kind of like a fun way for people to collect these stories in the meantime, because that trade paperback, I mean, I don't have that scheduled until after the 15 issues. And as you can see,
Yeah.
we're only on issue 4. So,
Right.
so yeah, so we seem to be really close in getting this 8-page story unlocked. So, which would be really cool, because I think people will enjoy the extra stories that that come out of it. So that's my that's my campaign. Like I said, we have 47 hours to go, and also because I keep forgetting to say this, so the EGORAVEN is a mature audience's book, more for violence and adult situations. It really the first 5 issues, it's kind of like not as bad, but it really ramps up in issue 6 and issue 7. I mean, I had to.
Right.
It's like there was a scene in issue 7 where once I finished drawing it, I literally had to walk away from my table because I thought it was so upsetting. I literally upset myself with my own work.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So it really ramps up in the 6 and 7, those issues afterwards. And so pretty much it's a mature audience's telling of the classic hero's journey with a soap opera twist, featuring character relationship centered stories in a fantasy setting with unicorns, elves, dragons, furries, and the thing is, and fantasy, heavy fantasy, in the fact that there is absolutely nothing in here that's historically accurate at all. I remember on Tall Tales, someone had literally asked me if it was historically accurate, and I told them, bro, it has talking animals in it. It's like, I don't understand the question. So,
I mean,
yes,
they could look at it the sense of Usagi Yojimbo is quasi-historical.
right. I mean, yeah, but it's still talking animals, though. So
that's true. That's true. It's quasi-historical. It's inspired by Japan and all the movies that
George Washington ran into the elf. No.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, so it's, so I make sure to explain to people that it's like, yes, it's a fantasy world based very loosely on Europe, but it's anachronistic all over the place. I mean, it's like, look, it's like you're just gonna have to read this and accept the fact that there's a talking fox in the 12th in a pseudo 12th century environment, addicted to Swedish fish and coffee. If that kind of like puts it in perspective.
I love it already.
All right, so that's
my jam.
Yeah, exactly. And and they exist in my world. And someone had said, so if you have Swedish fish in your world, you're implying that Sweden exists in your world. And I go, that works for me. That's fine. There we go.
It's like in my own fantasy world that I'm working on, that I have a lot of it done, but then again, I've been developing it since high school.
And yeah.
Is a combination of Roman, Norse, and Russian mythology.
I like your jam already.
The whole idea is that people had to go north because of this thing called the Scourge came, and it wiped the southern lands. So they have this massive gate between these things known as the barrier peaks, that blocks the Scourge lands from civilized society in this one area. And it's known as Shadowholt, the last empire of man. It's not a very nice place to live.
Well, I could imagine, it's like, but yeah, but I mean, but really, it's like, because it's like, I think that if you can't really play around with the fantasy aspect of it, then what's the fun in that?
Yeah, I mean, but I have direct references to like Baba Yaga.
Right.
She exists in the world. The Norse deities exist in this world, as do some of the Greek/Roman gods.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, I have Koschei the Deathless is literally a power that's in this universe. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny because it's like you're saying you have the Norse gods too, and on one of my previous podcasts, I was kind of like really uptight about Disney trying to trademark Loki and Thor and all the Norse gods, but especially Loki because the TV series was coming out.
Yeah.
And I had made the joke about how everybody should make their own Loki, and then just we can all go up against Disney Spartacus style. It's like, we all have a Loki, and in the end, it's like even in EGORAVEN, I end up with my own Loki in the story. So Loki is canon in EGORAVEN. So everybody needs their own Loki.
One of the things I always found amusing is years ago. I'm a big player of Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, my fantasy setting came from a Dungeons and Dragons world that I made, and TSR, who originally published Dungeons and Dragons, for people who don't know, who only know Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They put out a game called Indiana Jones at one point. And they copyrighted Nazis.
Nice.
It was a mistake, though. At least it was a mistake. But it's this joke for years.
Wow.
Like, TSR copyrighted Nazis. But it was actually a misprint. They're like, no, we didn't.
We did not.
But it's funny.
But not for nothing though. Using ElfQuest, going back to ElfQuest though, I remember the whole kerfuffle of Wendy and Richard Pini trying to trademark the word elf.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody wants to test that line, don't they? It's like
you can't. Tolkien beat you to it. So.
Yeah, exactly. But also that's the thing too is everybody who a lot of people who write fantasy, they think they have to be Tolkien. They think that we have to have this massive world building or else it doesn't work and blah blah blah, and there has to be and honestly, I think what really got me out of that mindset was watching The Witcher for the first time.
Yeah, because he had no fucking idea what he was doing.
Oh no, it was funny. I mean, but the thing, like, you could tell I forgot the author's name, that he just did not give a rat's about like that type of world building. Like, he just like did whatever he needed to do, whatever it took.
My world building actually comes from Robert E. Howard. I read The Hyborian Age by him, and it basically spells out his universe, and I was just like, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Oh, I gotta check that out then.
Yeah, Robert E. Howard, when he created, I prefer pulp, sword and sorcery to high fantasy in a lot of ways. I mean, I have my comic book basically features superheroes in a fantasy setting, but that's beside the point. My writing style and everything is much more pulp oriented, and like reading The Hyborian Age by him, which I believe it's public domain at this point anyway. It's one of the early Conan stories, basically, and his Conan stuff is like, well, I liked it because it's blood and guts and stuff. So. But the real character that impressed me that he did was Solomon Kane.
Okay.
I highly recommend that because it's basically the age of pirates with a guy hunting demons.
And
he's just so driven. He makes Batman look like an amateur.
But yeah, I got it because I know that that for me, Conan artistically is a huge influence, especially Bashima. John
Yeah.
Buscema and
Barry Windsor Smith.
right, yeah, and the guy who popularized Red Sonja. No, the guy who popularized Red Sonja, Frank Thorne.
Yeah, Frank Thorne.
Yeah.
Frank Thorne. I love the original Red Sonja comics.
Yeah.
Actually, like the actual Howard character of Red Sonja, which is completely different. She's in a historical story that's called Shadow of the Vulture.
Oh.
And it's very much like historical Turkey with the, basically swordswoman going through it, and it's a great story. And then like Howard also had this series that he had a character called Dark Agnes. I highly recommend reading about her too. Cool. So he had the badass women. They just didn't really wear chainmail bikinis. So.
Right. Yeah, that was. I think that once it became more visual, it's like.
The original Red Sonja didn't even wear a chainmail bikini. That came later in the series.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because I mean, like even Barry Windsor Smith, it's like it was more like a chainmail shirt and booty shorts.
Yeah, it was a chain shirt. I mean, Conan wore full armor.
Right, yeah.
Stories and stuff.
Right, yeah.
He wasn't running around topless the entire time, but I do thank Arnold Schwarzenegger for that.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like waste not, want not.
Yes, the new movie, which isn't that great, but I love it because it's called Drogo as Jason Momoa, whatever his name is, as Conan, and yes,
right. I enjoyed. Yeah, it's like it's not that I appreciated the actual references to the story.
Yeah,
within the Jason Momoa. It's like because I remember watching it and I go, oh, I remember that story. I remember that part. I remember that part.
Yeah, he did a good job with it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. My best friend and I, we went to see it in the theater, and we were like, I think the only two women in the theater, and we were definitely clear why we were there.
Right? No, absolutely. Yeah,
kind of like why I went to see Justice League.
We're watching 300 for the history.
Yes, exactly. Matter of fact, we went to that movie too on opening night.
Right, there you go. But it's like I think that but I definitely have to check those out because I'm still trying to get I'm still trying to get through. Yeah, I know, right? I'm trying to get through. I mean, saying it that way kind of sounds bad. The Fritz Lieber. Or is it Fritz Lieber? Fritz Lieber.
Fritz Lieber?
He did Not Far and Grey Mouse. Yeah. So I'm trying to read through the first book.
Right.
And
I'll give you some advice. Skip to the second.
Skip to the second? Okay. Because I mean I find the writing style oddly entertaining. It's just
he's good.
It's just that I like right now with all the work that I do, I kind of have the patience of a goldfish. So it's like, so it's a very slow read for me.
Okay. The books that I recommend that heavily influenced me and is probably one of my biggest influences on my entire comic and everything is a series called The Nevernight Chronicles.
Oh.
I highly recommend it because I stole basically ideas right from him that I'm like, this is awesome.
Right.
And I'm just using it. The other person is Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean the guy who just raised $41 million on
yeah, I might have heard that.
I think it was the same guy.
Yeah, yep, that was him. But yeah, it's J something. Give me a second. But if people want to know what's going through my head of where I got my whole fantasy ideas and where I get my narrator concept from that I have, because I literally have this person telling the tale throughout the stuff.
Okay.
And he comes in and quips on certain things. Yeah, I stole that right from him. So.
Yeah.
It's Jay Kristoff. Jay Kristoff. He did 3 books, The Nevernight Chronicles. The first one's called Nevernight. Then the second one's God's Grave, and the third one's called. But God's Grave specifically is actually where my character Danny comes from, and that was him doing his own variation of gladiatorial combat and stuff. and my character Danny is an escaped slave, basically. But the whole slave marking system, I stole that from him. I just made my own variation of it and stuff. So
I mean, in the end, it's like that's pretty much all we do, right? We just borrow, steal. We just do whatever, bits and pieces. Oh, we like this, we like this, we like this.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, I read around 100 books a year.
Wow.
So,
good for you.
Well, this is more of a recent thing because I'm physically disabled. I had to quit my day job and everything a few years ago, and well, to keep myself sane, aside from drawing comics, is I read, and I can't really read books anymore. My hands don't like books. Like one of the things I hate about comics now is I basically have to get digital stuff.
Right. Oh, I see. Right.
But yeah. So I basically said, well, I'm going to read like every book that looks interesting.
Oh.
And that's what I did. So I get about 100 books a year. Is about what I read.
Wow. I mean, so yeah, because I mean, it's. I keep remembering this statistic that I read that people keep telling me is very misleading, but I don't know. It's like they say that the average person reads less than one book a year.
I can actually believe that.
I mean, they don't even finish the book from what the statistic. I mean, unfortunately, I think I have 3 unfinished books I'm trying to get through. So
I think I've read 25 books already this year.
Wow.
So
yeah,
easily, give or take a couple.
I have stacks of books I have not read.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not even including the amount of comic books I've read.
Right.
But no, I read a lot. So
right, yeah, apparently, yeah.
Well, I write a lot.
Well, but that's the cycle, right? That it's like if you want to write, you have to read, and it's like for what we do, it's like we always need that constant input of I don't know, just exposing ourselves to other books and whatnot. I mean, it's a habit that it's bad for me because, like I said, it's very difficult for me to sit down and concentrate on a book.
Yeah.
What I've been finding is like audiobooks work better for me.
That's basically what I do. I have an Audible account, and I throw a book on, and then I draw.
Right. I mean, that's that's kind of like it's kind of like even when I'm reading comics, for some strange reason, I comprehend it better if I read it out loud to myself. Like I've become that person.
I've done that.
Because if I'm just reading it, I have a tendency to skim, and then it's like I'm not really retaining what the story is. But if I read it loud, then all of a sudden I can remember. I can like keep track of the story better.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like I said, I've become that person.
Let's see. I'm currently reading Whisper. I think it's by Lynette Lonnie. And it's basically this girl has spent she's something like 18 years old or something like that, and she's basically in this secret facility where she's effectively a prisoner. She hasn't said a word in over 2 years. Like the first line of the book is the length of time it's been since she said a word.
Wow.
And the reason being is what she says happens.
Oh, yeah, that would be a problem.
So she has to figure out how to control her ability.
Right.
Otherwise, if she says stop, the world stops.
Oh no.
And it's an interesting book so far. The sequel to it I'm looking forward to is called Weapon. So I only got a couple hours left on this, then I'll read the sequel because actually they're both free on Audible. So
okay, yeah. So I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's a fun book. I think it's young adult would be the thing. It's young adult science, kind of dystopian science fiction without much dystopian.
Right.
I mean, it's set in Australia.
Oh well, yeah. It's like I think that you just have to be in certain parts.
Jay Kristoff's actually he's from Australia as well.
Oh, there you go.
His stuff is definitely not young adult.
I mean, is there a reason why you chose a young adult story, or that's just what was recommended?
Looked interesting.
Okay, so there you go.
I pretty much read just about whatever. I mean, I go from like your average fantasy stuff, science fiction things. I read a lot of crime. I'm actually a big fan of the Mike Hammer stuff. His noir stuff, which is one of the big influences on Frank Miller for Sin City.
Right.
And that was actually the reason I went out and read it. I read it years ago. Because
that was a television series for a while, wasn't it?
It was.
Mike Hammer, yeah.
Yep, it was.
Yeah.
They adapted a few of them.
Right.
And the other books I really love are, and they're short, great detective novels. Nero Wolfe.
Oh, yeah.
They made a series out of that as well, which is what turned me on to the books. As I saw a couple episodes of the series, I'm like, I really like this. Then I found out, it's a book series. Now I'm going to read these.
Right.
And they're short reads, but they're a lot of fun. And like Harry Truman shows up in one of the books. Sort of.
Sort of, right.
They refuse to answer the door.
Oh, no.
They're like, I think it's him. Like, I'm not answering it. It was really good.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, so I read a lot of various genres and things.
Right.
And that's not even getting into the science stuff I read, because I have a background in astrophysics and computer science, and I still read journals.
Oh, okay. So you like to cite to research for fun?
Yes.
Right.
If I ever do science fiction, it's going to be very, very hard science fiction.
Right. Yeah. It's like we have a friend, Stone, that he used to work for NASA, and he decided to leave the science academia to write science fiction novels.
Yeah, I'm not that cool. I studied it in college. I didn't pursue it. I actually I used my computer science skills. I basically, I worked for Verizon for like 13 years, and then I worked for WGBH for a few years. So, and I did before I worked for Verizon, I was doing contract work and doing IT stuff every place. I used all my IT stuff. I didn't use any of the other stuff at all.
Right.
I when I'm reading things, I have to go back to the books to look up what the hell they're talking about from time to time, because I'm not that advanced at it.
Oh, well, yeah, and also
I can read it and get an idea of what they're talking about.
Like the research, updates faster than sometimes we can keep track of it.
Oh God, yeah. Well, it's like pretty much anything that comes out on black holes, I'll read, because I was studying a lot on black holes. That was my area of interest. And I can definitely tell you that my undergraduate years are kind of a blur. So, but yeah, so that was the crazy crap that I do. So I've read all my life, and I read just about anything.
Right. So do you notice? Is there do you notice a huge difference between when you were reading Robert E. Howard and like stylistically and I guess more modern fare, or is it? Because sometimes I'm a little not intimidated, but I'm a little concerned that the writing style might be a little too archaic for me to get into.
Well, it's anything by Howard and a lot of the classics like Lovecraft is as well. They're all pre what's his name? Oh God, he's based. Oh, you close.
Right, yeah.
The what's his name? He's like the writer that everybody points to as the greatest writer in the world and all that. He committed suicide.
That doesn't quite narrow it down. A lot of writers are.
Yeah, a lot of them do that.
They tend to do that sometimes.
The entire modern writing style is based on his writing style.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I'm going to Google.
Right. Because the only one that comes to mind is Hemingway, and it's Oh, really? It is Hemingway.
Yep,
okay.
It's Hemingway. Hemingway's writing style is considered the influential style in modern writing.
Really? Okay.
And he's pre-Hemingway, so it is different, in the ways that he would describe stuff. Say there's a lot of comparisons to animals with how Conan moves, but the description base of how he writes it would be different than how Hemingway would handle it.
Right.
So yeah, it's very different in that sense.
Because there was some some artwork that I saw, I guess like from the covers for the Conan novels, the originals or whatnot. And Conan looked incredibly different than what I mean. It's like, because we tend to forget that barbarian just means not Roman.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all that means. It doesn't mean, you know, fur thongs and running around half naked. It just means that you're not Roman.
Yeah, you're not Roman.
Yeah. And there was a painting of Conan who kind of looked more like Prince Valiant in Roman armor rather than the Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that'd be a really early one.
Yeah,
that'd be pre-Frazetta, actually.
Right. Yeah, and it's like, and that kind of like stuck with me, especially when I guess like all we think about Conan is the Arnold Schwarzenegger version.
Well, that all comes from Frazetta, so yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then it's right, and then it's like, it just seems like that was like the imagery that of Conan that we are kind of like, that we recognize as Conan as a society.
Yeah, if you read the actual stories, they're much more like that, where he's armored. He's like, you know, much more of a. He's just not Roman. I mean, he's basically an Irishman.
Right.
You know, Sumerians are basically Irish/Scottish, kind of. And then there's the Picts, which are not like the historical Picts. There's nothing redeemable about them in the Conan stories. Right. In Worms of the Earth, which is a Brad McMore story, it's more. They're more of the historical Picts in that, because I believe Brad McMore is a Pict. I'd have to double check it, but and that is quite possibly one of the best horror stories I've ever read.
Huh.
So, but that's very good. Brad McMore in general is pretty good.
Oh, cool.
But thankfully nowadays you can also get the unedited Howard stuff.
Oh.
Because the early stuff that came out was heavily modified. I forget the writer who did it, but basically a lot of ways they butchered Conan.
For any particular reason, or
they didn't think Howard was a good writer.
Oh! They tried to Hemingway him.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They also took some of his fragments and things like that, and tried to do complete stories based on them and all that. So, I mean, Howard unfortunately committed suicide at a very young age.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was like in his early 30s when he died, and his mother passed away, and he was very connected to his mother, and he committed suicide shortly after. There's a movie loosely inspired by it. It's actually written by the woman. The book it's inspired by is written by the woman who was probably closest to him. It's Postcards of something.
Is it Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yes, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Right. Okay, because you're the second person to recommend that, so I got to I got to find that, because look, it's like, hey, Vincent D'Onofrio.
it portrays it really kind of gets Howard down too, because Howard did a bunch of the things that he does in that movie. Like, he'd be walking down the street boxing.
Right. Oh, no.
And he's literally like, just kind of shadow boxing as he's like walking, and he's running a story through his head, but everybody's like looking at him like he's crazy, but he's literally got this whole thing and he's doing everything with it. And then all of a sudden he's like, sends him the stories.
Wow.
Gets published.
I mean, I can't really laugh too much at that, because especially, with still wearing a mask in public or whatnot, what I found that's made it a little too easy for me to kind of like act out dialogue while I'm in public. So it's like, so it's like I'm just standing there and I'm like just trying to like work out some phrases or dialogue or whatnot, and I'm literally talking to myself, but it's just dialogue. And because I have the mask on, it's like I'm hoping people, I don't look like I'm talking to myself.
Right.
So I can't really fault the guy on that one.
I'm saying that you're here, and you want everybody to know that you're here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Rocket.
Yes, this is my rocket. It's fuzzy right now because I have the background blurred. But
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
it's been about an hour and 15.
Yeah.
I could definitely talk more.
Well, yeah, definitely. But obviously we all have we do have we all do have work to do.
Yeah, I definitely have to get more comics done. I have the
Right.
Cromniverse stuff I'm working on for
Oh,
Zant. I have actually I'm working on a project for Peter, texturing and lettering a piece that we're working on together. I gotta finish that up. And I have another anthology I'm part of that's called Concrete Arcanum, I believe. It's modern fantasy, but what if people knew about the modern fantasy?
Oh, you're right. It's just kind of like, it's just there.
So I'm basically doing my I live in the Boston area, and I'm using some of the lovely people of the Boston area as influence for this what was it his name? Whitey Bulger and Steve the Rifleman Fleming.
Right.
They're well, I've been inspired by them to put them into my story. So
there you go.
This basically what would happen if they had to deal with effectively Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh no! Yeah, really.
Chinatown in Boston is kind of interesting. So figure I'll run with it.
There you go. Yeah. Kind of like that. That's kind of like kind of write what you know, and then like add everything on top of it. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm doing. But yeah, so that should be fun to do.
Yeah. So this working on the page that I'm working on is actually a project with Mark Torres. This is a graphic novel called Designated that Apex Comics Group will be crowdfunding later this year. I got to get 110 pages done by the end of May next month.
Oh, there you go.
God, man.
Well, I mean, I got, I don't know, 30 plus pages done so far, so it's whatever. But like, I got to get the whole thing done by the end.
Yeah.
So that's mostly what I'm focused on. I got other things going on. I got to get retro done, and I got covers to ink and stuff.
And then if a writer ever gets Nightmare done, we'll be working on that too.
No rest for the weary. I never know if it's no rest for the weary or no rest for the wicked, but either way.
Yes. We're just gonna say yes and go with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and yes, like I have the 16 pages I have to finish. Then I have to start working on issue 8 of EGORAVEN, and then it's like I have to put together the files for the last trade paperback for Tall Tales, Thief's Quest. This is the first volume, so I have to put together the file for the 4th volume for the next campaign. There's always something going on.
Looks like your partner in crime is yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess for your audience, for anybody who wants to, I guess, like keep track of, like look into like all my work and my campaigns and whatnot, you can all head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. Where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook. And I also have a weekly live stream every Wednesday at 4:00. So you can watch me draw artwork then. It's like I said, I have this whole convoluted setup, trying to until I can get everything fixed up the way it should be. And it's like, and also in the meantime, you can read the first 5 issues of EGORAVEN, Heir the First Unicorn in its original black and white format on my website at egoworks.com. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of like a Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link to Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free. So until the Kickstarter comes out, you can do that as well. So so egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. So
well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, This has been fun. I put a bunch of links down below in the video description box.
It's in the doobly doo stuff.
Right.
I think instead of your
Like,
Kickstarter, I
subscribe,
have
hit the bell.
a sign up link or whatever, but I'll get your Kickstarter link in there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We'll
Subscribe
be
to
here
Daphne's
Wednesday with
channel, too.
another guest. Oh yeah, subscribe to her too. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And the
Yeah,
whole
subscribe to all our
reason
channels.
to
Yeah, exactly.
I was doing my outro.
Make it, it's like just make the algorithm gods happy for all of us.
They will go with it.
Right. So thank you again for having me on. And and I'll definitely, and especially once conventions start, we'll start seeing each other again.
Yeah,
At least we'll be crossing in front of our tables like we always do.
I definitely know I need to get back to doing them because I need to get my secondary source of income back.
There you go.
I'll be at HeroesCon in June, the end of June.
Very nice.
So if you're going to Heroes, yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Watch all 750 other videos I have on my channel.
Yes.
Trying to get my views up. I passed 1K, but I gotta get monetized, so I gotta get 4,000 watched hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah. But, and even then, my cats only like so much of your stuff.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Not enough birds.
Yeah.
All right.
See you all later.
All right. Bye.